dots are all on the green. Looks like she's alive.
You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study.
That's the plan.
These people are here to protect you. They're soldiers.
It won't make any difference.
I want this thing to go smooth and by the numbers.
Let's rock!
Outstanding.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Stop your grinning and drop your linen.
Multiple signals!
Glorious day in the core.
My name is Ian Nathan. I'm the author of Alien Vault, and I'm the writer-director of Aliens Expanded. Aliens Expanded will be the most sophisticated and passionate exploration of aliens ever made.
We're on express elevator to hell.
The reason we come back to aliens again and again is because there's something magical within it. There's something I don't think even Cameron could explain, but we're going to try and find it.
All right, gear up. 2 minutes, people.
Just a brilliant film. We love it, and we just want to talk about it.
Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
There's something universal at the heart of Cameron's filmmaking. He creates characters you love, that you recognize, that you relate to. He creates themes within his films, and especially with aliens, that come to the heart of the human experience.
You don't talk much, do you?
We're going to come at it in a new way. We're going to look at film in a different way. We're going to give it a different energy. This is as much about loving aliens as it is about understanding aliens. We're going to go out and talk about the theories, the in-world stuff, where the creature came from, the biology of aliens. Just go deeper and find something new, something beneath what we already have. So when you watch the film again, the first thing you'll do is turn on Aliens Expanded afterwards to go, oh yeah, God, great. We are running an ongoing consultation with our backers to ensure that our documentary truly reflects the incredible legacy of this beloved epic.
Magnificent, isn't it?
You'll receive an exclusive invitation to a year-long fan experience, including live cast and crew Q&As, vidcasts, and community events. Then at the end of the project, you'll receive your copy of the documentary and other physical rewards, including posters, a sew-on patch, and a certificate, as well as your name in the credits as a personal and unique memento of your love for aliens.
Okay, what do I do?
See the link in the description or the pinned comment. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to 4K for you. I am Tom Connors. Valliant Renegade is on his way, but Greg is here. How are you doing, Greg?
Doing good. How you doing, man? I'm glad to be here.
Can.
Yeah, all right. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I'm glad to be here with all yous.
That's right, indeed. And if you like the looks of that Alien documentary, get in on that today. Now is the time to get your name in the credits and all that business. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment in the chat. You're running out of time, though. There's only like 5 or 6 days left on that. So.
Yeah, not much left on that. Looked really good. That's the first time I've seen the whole trailer for that.
Yeah, and that's actually from the guys who made In Search of Darkness and the recent sci-fi documentary In Search of Tomorrow. So if you were into that at all and seen the quality and the caliber of what you got from there, you know just what to expect from this. So we cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, on that note, until Valliant gets here, we've got some rumors and news, mostly news, not a lot of rumors this week.
Yeah, I didn't really get any rumors, I don't think, this week at all. I got a rumor I was talking about confirmed. So from Vinegar Syndrome.
There you go. Well, because I had asked about what the hell was going on with Texas Chainsaw. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. But
no, I was talking about the Invisible Maniac because a lot of people didn't believe me it was coming, and it is coming on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. So
there you go.
Yeah, I was happy about that. Yes, and I did hear that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 4K is coming in October. Yep, October.
Yeah, because I don't remember him saying when, and then the one of the guys from Vinegar Syndrome let me know it was in November or
October.
October, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I know it's like the months are starting to bleed together.
That's all the same. It's COVID month.
It's every day.
I'm still on COVID months, so I don't know.
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it's repeating itself.
But yeah, so
we're gonna get into all that stuff, and we did get some exciting news today, as you can see from the thumbnail, and we'll get into all that, of course, along with Walmart.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard the latest update, but
I've heard they were canceling orders for the Halloween, but have they done something else now?
No, they're still canceling orders. But I called somebody, and he claimed they were supposed to honor the price. Well, my order got canceled, and they don't have it in stock. So I have a feeling they're going to play the not in stock game for a while till enough people quit complaining about it.
Yeah.
But honestly, guys, the only way we're going to get this done or get anything done about it is to keep bugging them. But otherwise, I'm curious what you feel about this. Do you think they should honor this, or do you think this is just a big disaster all around?
I mean, it's a big disaster for Walmart. I'll say that for them. Whoever did that's definitely going to lose their job or something, reprimanded. But I think they should honor it because so many people pre-ordered it, and in some cases, people maybe people like us who are collectors know it was an oversight and maybe try to get it for that. But there was a lot of people out there that saw that and was like, "Oh, cool! The Halloween's on 4K for that much. I'm going to buy them." Those people are going to get screwed over. So I really think they should honor him.
And I'm one of those people. Mine already got canceled. Hey, Valiant, how you doing, buddy? Just a tad late, not by much.
Welcome.
Oh, good. I'm sorry about that. And it was all for naught is the worst part. I didn't even realize, my wife forgot to tell me that Renegade Jr. stayed home today because he wasn't feeling well. So I sat in the car line for 20 minutes to pick him up
for nothing.
Yeah, and they're like, finally they he wasn't here today. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh man, that sucks.
Anyway, good to see everybody. Good to be back.
But on the Walmart side of things, technically by law, I don't think they have to honor it, and by their pricing policy, it's kind of shady.
Yeah,
because in the store, I think it goes by state in the store. Since it's online, though, I don't think they have to. That's the sad part.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's one side of this is if they do honor it and Walmart tries to squeeze a lot of it somehow and get some deal with Shout, that's going to affect things down the road, for future releases like this. The other side of it is it could affect Walmart carrying these things, which I don't give a fuck. Walmart can kiss my ass. They already get enough of my money.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the thing is I hate Walmart even more than I ever did before because I'm in a town now where that is the only grocery store I have. I have no other grocery stores. So I'm stuck with that as my possible only possible choice unless I drive 30 or more miles.
Yeah, and they got a crappy department all around. At least here where I live.
I mean, the dry goods and certain things, fine, whatever. But when it comes to the other stuff, I'm really on it. But yeah, so I don't know if you heard about all this Valiant, but back, I know we had talked a little bit about it, but the Halloween box sets that were supposed to be going for $22.98 on Walmart, they are not honoring that price. The price is actually $100 and some bucks. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it. If you think that I'm, as far as I'm concerned, they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's on them. They should have to pay for them. Shout shouldn't have to do anything for them.
If they listed them on there and people purchased them for that price, then yeah. I mean, okay, you made a mistake, but you put an offer out there. People accepted the offer. I mean, it's kind of done at that point. Yeah, it's not.
How I feel.
What did they really recoup in, charging people the extra $100 after they screwed it up? Or did they lose all the sales? I mean, it's like you said, this is not even a speck of dust on the smallest pimple on the biggest frog's butt in terms of Walmart and revenue. So it seems like to me, you take the loss, you fulfill the orders, you correct the price going forward for new orders, and then you don't get any flack. Then you move on.
Unfortunately, that's not the route they're canceling all the orders. And as I said, as of right now, it's out of stock on their website. So they're playing that game.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you, Valiant. This is one of those things where if it was a smaller company, even if it was Shout themselves that had fucked up.
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, let it slide, because this would damage their company.
Oh, it would destroy them.
Yeah.
Walmart, like you said, this isn't even a pimple on their fucking ass.
Right.
This is barely a gnat on their ass. Really.
Right.
Even if it costs them $10, $13, $14, $1,500 or $1,000 to cover this error, that's not a big.
I mean, it depends on how many people pre-ordered it.
Oh, I'm sure it's quite a few. And if you figure,
let's say it's a few hundred or maybe even 1,000.
I'm going to say probably in the thousands.
Yeah, so let's say it cost them, now again, going back from their wholesale price. So usually, if memory serves,
I would say probably $20 a pop is what it would cost them. Somewhere in there.
I mean, usually the manufacturer will set a retail price for the audience out there who wonders how this works. I know this is the way the book industry used to be, and I think a lot of media like this is very similar to that, is that let's say that you put a price on a piece of media, a book or a DVD, and it was $25, then the wholesale price was retail minus $40. So you'd be paying around, if you were selling a $25 book, the cost to somebody like a base cost would be $15 to a Barnes & Noble or a Walmart. They might get a little bit more of a discount because of the volume they were buying. Maybe they'd get it for around 12 or 13. So again, with this, if their retail pricing was $129, they were probably picking it up for somewhere around, say, $45 to $50 a copy.
Which is right where I was saying they lose about $20-$30 a piece on these.
Right.
And let's just say, for the sake of argument, they sold 1,000 of them. That's what, $2,000 off their ass.
I'm sorry, their markdown would have been about $50. So their cost might have been around $60 to $70. Excuse me.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, that would still be a little bit more, but still, well, like even if
it's not worth it. It's not worth it for the bad PR.
And that's just what they're going to get. And that's where, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to give them that, because they have done nothing but destroy towns. They have ripped DVDs and movies out of their stores to make way for record albums, which to me is a fucking fad that is going to go flying faster than anybody cares to. Once people realize that they don't sound any better than your CDs, and actually CDs sound better, people are going to come back around. Because newsflash, unless you're buying old vinyl, it's all coming from the same digital master.
Exactly.
So you're actually already listening to a copy of a digital master when you get
right.
So don't even get me on the record debate.
Because I was looking at buying a collector's set. Kenny Wayne Shepherd was doing a 25th anniversary release of one of his albums, and one of the nice sets came with, it was 4 CDs and then 4 pieces of vinyl. Now, but even back then, I don't think they were recording that on tape.
Generally, they will say, if it comes from an analog master or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to go back and look, but that was one of those things I'm like, I'm gonna look into it because if it was done, or it's being remastered from a digital master, it makes no difference. Going from digital back to analog, that doesn't work.
No, I'm not going to argue. Some people may think it sounds better to them personally. I get that. I'm not going to argue that. But and in some respects, I could say that, especially when you get into older, like I'm not going to get into the whole debate because yes, older CDs were printed from the same goddamn masters that were for record albums. So that's why the records, in most cases, sound better for older music than the older CDs do.
If it was mastered on analog tape, if it was mastered in analog, yes. If it was mastered like if I like we're all doing right now on YouTube, we're speaking in to an analog or digital preamp, but at the end of the day, it's a digital signal. So once it's there, it's there. So if you're in a recording studio today, there's no analog recording studios anymore, or you'd have to really look hard to find them. Everything has been recorded digitally now for music for almost 20 years. And
more than that, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, unless you're buying something from like the 80s, or maybe even into the mid to late 90s or earlier, 70s, 60s, obviously goes without saying, you're not benefiting from getting a vinyl copy of a modern recording.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some that still do, very rare, like Sean pointed out here, Foo Fighters are still one of the few rare that do on an analog setup. But like, for instance, like Brothers in Arms
on an analog desk.
Yeah.
But what they're probably doing the mastering in digital,
transferring it to digital. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's what I was gonna say. It's like they've been doing music so long in digital. Brothers in Arms from Dire Straits, believe it or not, was the first album that was done from beginning to end in digital. That's how long they've most have been doing it. Then they were the first, but by the next couple of years after that, you had a lot of albums that were just digital, straight digital. So from like 1990 on, you're hard pressed to find anybody who's still doing a lot of analog mastering. It is very rare after that, unless you're somebody who can afford it, like the Foo Fighters or somebody like that. Because that's the other reason. It's just that much more expensive to
you're
buy.
You're gonna have to find specialty studios. I mean, like Abbey Road may still do that. I think they probably do. And then there's a few in the U.S., some major famous studio houses that may still have the equipment for that. But otherwise, even if the front end is analog, it's being recorded digitally, mastered there.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, there's no analog tape that's capturing this at the end of the day.
Yeah. And yes, actually, I used to use, not Betamax, but VHS tape quite often. And in fact, one of our studios used a lot of VHS tape because VHS actually had better sound on it than typical analog cassettes.
It was a wider track. Yeah.
You could also do digital on it. So believe it or not, they used to use VHS a lot to do a lot of digital mastering.
VHS, yes.
Yeah. Because of what Valliant just said, it had such a wide tape on it that you could put a lot of information on there.
Cassette tape was what, like, was it a 1/4 inch?
I believe so, yes.
Something like, 1/4 inch. VHS's track was, I think, like 3/8 or something. It was slightly
just
bigger.
under an inch, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, the audio track that was on VHS. Well, I guess.
But when you're doing it digitally, it uses the whole thing pretty much. The only part that's not being used is there's like the one band or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was a 3/4 inch wide tape on that. Because I mean, like the original audio recording masters that they used to use, studios used different varieties of it. But I mean, if the really high end recordings were using like 3/4 inch to 1 inch tape, I mean, it was big stuff.
But that's what we had at my school. The studio we had was an analog to digital studio. So what it was is it would go through the board, and then it would be digitized and then put through a track onto a tape as a backup, and then they'd have it also, on the screen in the audio thing. It was a very kind of like primitive version of what we have now with like Audacity, basically. It really was what it was, and it was just kind of neat to see how it all worked, but. Just kind of weird that we're using VHS tape. Yeah. And Cardinal Sin sends in two super chats. First one was a pair with a character bowing and saying, "Thank you." Well, thank you, Cardinal Sin. And also for this one who says, Devo was the first band to do an all-digital recording at all big studios in Wichita, Kansas. Is this true? I thought it was always Brothers in Arms.
I don't know.
I could have swore it was Brothers in Arms. but I guess I might be wrong on that one. We'll have to look that up. Because I know you and I had that conversation too before Valiant, because that was always one of the albums that you would use to show off AV equipment back in the day, I bet.
Oh, we used a whole bunch of different stuff.
Dire Straits early on, I mean, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you'd probably been a little too young for that one, but yeah.
No, but I mean, I remember it. I mean, you got to, I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, not in the
in my era, when I started working in the high-end audio stores, I mean, I was about 18, 19, 20. But you got to remember all the guys I was working with at that time, and we're talking about the late 90s, were in their 40s. So, I mean, I grew up at that point with their music, you know, and they went all through the late 60s and into the 70s. So that's mostly what I grew up with, music-wise. Apart from
I know, but I meant when you started working is what I meant. But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get on to some rumors and news. There really wasn't much for rumors, you said, right, Greg?
No, not much. But looks like we just, while you guys were talking, I see, because Arrow is announcing their new titles this Friday. And it looks like we might, I guess you can take these as rumors, but these are probably, these are true. It looks like we got two of the two Arrow titles they're going to announce this Friday. One, it will be a 4K of Silent Running coming December 13th. And another will be a Blu-ray of the movie Nightmare at Noon from 1987 coming December 6th. So,
Silent Running. That would be
Silent Running 4K HDR master.
So that was one of the black one, the mystery titles, right?
No, this is from Arrow Video.
Oh, Arrow. I thought you said Vinegar.
Yeah, Arrow's announcing their new titles this Friday. So it looks like two of them have leaked before this Friday.
Oh, and that makes sense because I think Arrow released the last version of Silent Running, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Not huge titles coming from Arrow, but Silent Running would be a good one.
Yeah. And I mean, it's new 4K. And Nightmare at Noon looks, I don't think I've ever seen it, but it looks pretty cool. It looks like it's got a bunch of old.
I've never heard of that one.
Old actors, and it looks like, what's his name? What is
it
that?
Western or horror or what?
It looks like it might be like sort of Western-esque, but set in the 80s, you know what I mean? Out in the desert. What's his name from the Naked Gun movies? Not Leslie Nielsen, but his partner.
Oh,
he's
not O.J. Simpson, the other guy.
Yeah, the other old guy.
Yeah, the old white dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it stars him and some other people there.
I know you're thinking of, and I can't think of his goddamn name too.
I know. I'm thinking George something, but I'm not really sure.
No, it's shit. George Kennedy. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's George
Thank
Kennedy.
you, Joba Fett. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You're right. So it is George. Yeah. George
I knew it was George. I couldn't remember the full.
I was thinking it was something else for some reason, but yeah.
I've never seen it, but the cover looks pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then, like I mentioned, we're getting Invisible Maniac 4K from Vinegar Syndrome and Roadhouse in 4K from Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, that was a big one that they announced this last week here that was under the radar all this time. I can't believe.
Yeah, well, it did go OOP from Shout, so it looks like they swooped that out and took it right from Shout. So, because Shout released it.
I gotta imagine that's one you like, Valiant.
It's one I like.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the Shout Factory one, but it's still in plastic.
I got it too.
I like it, but it's not one of my favorite Patrick Swayze movies. It's okay.
I would put it in my top, but I also like Black Dog too. So,
well, I just get why guys dig it. Like it's just one of those kind of movies. But I
mean,
it was just never one that I really kind of like Top Gun that I just never really got into. But I understand why everybody else loves it.
Yeah, I get you. It looks like Welgo. Is this Welgo? I think it's Welgo. No, I'm not sure who's releasing this, but the Train to Busan, the original, is coming to 4K on November 29th. So if you have not picked that up, that's a Korean zombie movie. So we got some Warner Archive titles. It looks like The Night of the Iguana from 1964 that stars Richard Burton and Ava Gardner is coming to Blu-ray on December. No date, just December, and it's a new 4K scan, but it will be a Blu-ray. So if you're into that, it says 3 Women, 1 Night. So, the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is coming from Warner Archive on Blu-ray in December as well, with a new 4K scan of the camera negative. So that's pretty cool. I like the old sci-fi ones like that. Let's see what else we got here. I got a bunch of Umbrella titles that just they announced.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So these, as far as I know, and as far as everything I've heard, these will all play in your U.S. region A player. So yeah.
And I know some of these were a couple ones that people were looking for, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. It looks like we're getting the Burt Reynolds set from
this
them.
is the specific one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I have a lot of these already, and that's what kind of pissed me off about this set.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yes, it will contain Cannonball Run, Cannonball Run 2, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Stroker Ace, and The Man Who Loved Women.
Jeez.
So
And
it looks like
the last one. I think the last one is the only one I don't have because I already imported Cannonball Run in 1 and 2.
Really?
Or I think maybe they released Cannonball 1 here in the U.S. Either way, one of them I had to import.
Yeah, I think we talked about that one because I was asking about them, and I think there's only just part 1 that's in the U.S. and the other one has never been released.
So
in the
2,
US.
I think, I've got them both, but now, and that one I think is the only one of those bunch that they said had new special features on it. Because I'm like, God damn it, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas not only needs new special features, but it definitely needs a 4K.
It looks like the Best Little Whorehouse will have a new audio commentary and a new feature called Nothing Dirty Going on Sex Work in Musicals Video Essay. It's video essay by film historian.
Yeah, as I say, it's 2 things from a film historian. It's nothing.
Yeah, nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's called The Box of Burt.
And I'm thinking about getting it just because it...
I'm kind of thinking about getting it too because
it's going to cost me a fortune because that's the problem with fucking shipping from them.
I know because it comes from Australia.
Yes, and the shipping is almost as much as the movies. So like the last time I ordered a buttload of crap just to make sure it was worth it, and fucking half that stuff now has been announced for 4K re-release.
Yeah, like Warriors.
Warriors,
but that
as
wasn't
good as it
Umbrella.
get. And a couple other ones that I got were all like the only ones I know that I haven't heard anything about yet was The Odd Couple, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paramount does the first Odd Couple in 4K.
Yeah, or Kino.
Yeah, actually, that's right. I think I mentioned that one. See, and that's the thing about these releases through this company. It seems like every time they get these over there, it's just before we get a new version here.
Yeah.
So I'm on the fence on this Burt Reynolds one. It's like,
I know. I'm thinking about it because I don't have the first 2 Cannonballs runs, and I really like those movies. So
see, now the only thing that stopped me is it didn't say that any of those are new scans. If it had said any of those were new scans, I might have, because Best Little Whorehouse in Texas has been out forever.
Yeah.
Right. And it needs a new scan. And I'm sorry, that's one of my guilty pleasure movies. It was just,
I don't blame you. I mean, Burt Reynolds.
It was one of those movies I knew
man.
I shouldn't have been watching, but my parents still let me watch it, kind of thing.
Everybody's got those kind of movies
has a
with their
whorehouse
kids.
in it. Ma, what's a whorehouse? You'll learn when you're older, son.
I mean, it's not like it was Porky's, okay?
Yeah.
No, it's not as bad nearly, but
I mean,
still,
they
did kind of let me watch Porky's for the most part, I think.
Okay, never mind.
Some of the stuff I seen as a kid, my parents would, if they knew I watched it, they would have killed me. So I watched a lot of stuff back then.
My parents were more worried about horror movies and stuff like that, but yeah. So anyway, what else did you have for announcements? I know there was a few until we get to the big ones.
Bunch of umbrellas. Like I never heard of this movie, but it stars Sam Neill. It's called Death in Brunswick. It's a web exclusive to their store. It comes with an O-ring or whatever those are.
A cock ring? What?
It says O-ring sunburnt screens number 22. So
God, I don't know what the hell that is.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I've never heard of Death in Brunswick, but it stars Sam Neill, so it looks like it might be a bit of a horror thriller type movie. So there's that. And they're also releasing on December 7th Hammer Horror Volume 1 Collector's Edition, which will contain The Evil Frankenstein, Panoramic, and Nightmare with posters and poster cards.
Of course, they have to have the one Frankenstein movie in there, and the rest I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of the other two, but I've heard of The Evil Frankenstein, yeah.
Now I got to look and see if that's one of the ones I got or if that's ever been released. But because most of the Hammer movies have been released.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, like there's like 3 or 4 box sets, but like Shout's got a few, Kino's got a few. Yeah, they're all over. But
honestly, outside of their Dracula and Frankenstein ones, I really.
Yeah, I always prefer the Universal monsters, but I don't mind Hammer.
Yeah, they're all right, but
yeah,
the other ones are just kind of like a lot of Victorian kind of hoity-toity fucking.
Yeah, The Brits.
Yeah. Shit that you'd be watching on PBS in the afternoon because it's shipped over from BBC or whatever.
It's true.
What else you got for us here?
I think this is the last Umbrella thing is Old Boy, the original Old
I
Boy.
saw that.
Yes, it's coming on December 7th. And speaking of VHS, it will be released on VHS as well.
Which is funny because I think I heard a rumor or saw something that we were getting Old Boy in 4K here. So I'm not surprised on that one. That's
Yeah, but this one, collector's edition, it comes with the Blu-ray, a VHS of the movie, a poster, and lobby cards. So that's
coming with VHS, or it's in like a VHS case.
It will come with a VHS version of the film.
What the fuck is it with the VHSs making a comeback again? Explain this to me, Greg. I can understand vintage for whatever reason, but
it's something I found myself getting to it, which I never thought I would go back to VHS once I went to Blu-ray, and now that I'm on 4K. But there's something like comforting about getting a VHS, and it's become a very collectible type thing. I'm cool with them releasing new titles, but I think it's the thrill of the old title. But I don't know, man. I really just don't know.
I saw they're bringing out Dune, the new Dune on VHS.
Yeah.
And it's not like somebody just did it as a joke. No, they're actually doing it through some like boutique company thing.
Yeah.
It's legit. Because I think there's another movie they're doing besides Dune. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah. I don't know. It's just like this weird collector's market that has sprung up of people that just really like VHS and
y'all are fucking weird. I'm gonna say it, Greg.
Yeah, it is weird. I will say it's weird. Don't get me wrong. I know it's weird. I know when I walk into a thrift store and I come out with like 10 VHSs, I'm like, what did I do?
Why did I get rid of my VHS quick enough? Like I've never been so happy in my life to unload something like that ever. It was like, oh my God, I can finally get rid of these. They were clunky. I hated the fact that they were constantly getting ate up all the time. If you watch something more than a few times, you started to see the wear and tear, constantly tracking. Don't even get me started on hi-fi stereo if you had to deal with that shit. Yeah. That's a whole nother level of bullshit. Oh, Lord. Because
it's just something, I don't know, man. It's just something. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I prefer a Blu-ray or a 4K every time I do. But there's something like comforting and just like getting a VHS, and I don't know what it is. It's fun.
I mean, I think I almost cried the first time I saw DVD. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is what it's supposed to look like. I finally feel like I can see it like it's, because I used to go to the movie theater every single fucking weekend. And of course, back then, it wasn't no digital bullshit. It was 35 millimeter, and you could fucking tell. There was a difference in the quality. To me, it was an event to see it in the theater because it was like, I'm not going to see it like this again. Right? That was always the way I felt like when I was going to see it. And I would, especially movies I loved, I'd go and see them as many times as I could because I knew once they hit video, it was never going to be the same again. And then when my buddy got a Laserdisc player, that was close. You know, it was like, oh, cool. We got a widescreen and there's no fucking tracking noise in the fucking sound. You know, like, that's what I said. When you add hi-fi sound to the mix, you got 2 levels of tracking. And that's something that they never, for some reason, could figure out quite in VCRs, is that maybe we should have 2 forms of tracking here for both the sound and the picture, but it doesn't work because it's just the speed. So just because the speed is right for one, it wasn't quite right for the other, so you get crackles in the sound and shit. And when it was right, it was right. Hi-fi stereo sounded beautiful. But if it had a crackle in it, you're getting throughout the entire fucking movie, and it's just like, seriously. And then otherwise, if you get the sound right, then the picture was all jittery, and it's like,
right.
So that was one thing that I never missed it. Never missed recording on it. Fucking hated dealing with analog shit like that all the time. That's one thing I don't miss when it comes to that. Is fucking rewinding shit.
I don't know. I just, it's
Joey, how are you crying because of memories? I'm glad. And God forbid you sat on the case. Your day was fucking ruined. You're like, fuck, it's never gonna be the same now.
I do think there's a nostalgia element to it, and Don't get me wrong. I just, I would prefer a Blu-ray or a 4K in today's day and age, but I don't mind watching a VHS every once in a while.
I don't even miss the chunkiness of DVD.
Yeah, the big cases.
Like, I'll be honest with you, like just that in general, and just like I'm really kind of getting to the point where my DVDs bother me on the show. It's like, why can't you be a Blu-ray? Yeah.
I see you looking at me like that.
Yeah, you're less than. No, I'm just being a shithead.
Yeah.
But all right, what else you got for us? I know there's a few other ones before we get to the big announcement.
Our favorite Mill Creek is releasing the complete series of
I don't want
Dawson's
to wait.
Creek.
Tell me now. I don't want to wait for my life to be over.
God, I was just thinking the same thing. Don't. Oh God, I didn't want to sing that shit.
I think Mad Mardigan is a fan of Dawson's Creek, if I remember right. He loves all that teen shit, which is weird.
I dug the first season because I was kind of, I'm film Dawson. I related to that, and then like after a while, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pass on this.
Katie Holmes was hotter than fuck. I'll give you that. No, I couldn't.
I literally only watched the first season.
It's like this is 90210 babies.
Yeah.
In the woods.
But yeah, there's that. And here's a big one that for you, I know you like, and we saw this. Kino Lorber is releasing the original Death Wish from 1974 on 4K with HDR Dolby Vision mastered from a 4K scan of the original camera negative.
Yes, and more yes.
Yes.
I was so glad when we got Death Wish 2. I was just wishing we had Death Wish 1 in 4K because clearly that's the best of the bunch.
Yes.
So glad to hear this. I'm surprised it's not. So Kino's releasing this, right?
Kino is releasing this. Yes. No release date yet.
I hope it gets a good amount of special features because there's nothing on the original disc. So.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. That they got that.
I'm sure you're a fan of it, aren't you, Valiant?
Oh yeah,
big gun fan. So I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean that was back in the the great days of all those action stars with Bronson and all. Look, that was always a great film. I always catched it when it came on TV. And to be honest with you, I don't know. Oh my God, the last copy I might actually own, I think, is a Laserdisc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Been a
minute.
minute.
Well, in that movie, it's almost like they tried to push it into obscurity, but no matter how hard they try, it won't go.
Yeah. So why do people keep liking this movie?
It's racist.
You watch
Which is hilarious because they bring that very point up. What is it in the second one or is it in the first one? I can't remember now.
Oh yeah.
Because that one lady
through all of them, remember?
Well, the lady at the party though, she's like, you ever notice how much he shoots more black people than white people? And the other guy goes, well, that's just because, I couldn't remember if it was the first or second one. I just thought it was always funny because, honestly, he's kind of like Dirty Harry. They did the same kind of shit to him. And it's like he treated them all the same.
Yeah.
In fact, he let the one dude live. Remember, he's like, I got to know, man. Click, click, click. Fuck. Yeah, you could have got him.
Exactly.
You fucked up, punk. That is why you fail.
Yes. That's a great movie, though. It was a really great
That's
movie.
one that needs a 4K like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. The Dirty Harry's big time.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself. I can't believe Warner hasn't done them yet.
Warner's weird with theirs. Like we've talked about, we don't even know if they've taken care of a lot of their prints of the film.
Well, New Line, yeah, more so. Warner, on the other hand, they used to be pretty good about archiving stuff. My question on it is, are they going to release it because of the controversial aspect of it?
Yeah, that's true.
Because they didn't really treat them that well on DVD and Blu-ray that much. I mean, we got like a box set of them on Blu-ray, and I think that's it.
Right.
And DVD, they had a few releases, but it was like early on, and then they got like a semi-special edition along with the Blu-ray releases, and that was it. So I've got the Blu-ray box set. If you don't have that, you pretty much are hard time finding. Because you can find the original Dirty Harry, but you can't find the sequels for shit.
Yeah, none of the sequels. They're hard to get.
Especially Deadpool.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that one. It's weird. It is weird, but
Not the Ryan Reynolds movie.
No, not that. Ching. Snick.
So what else did we have?
This is the last title before we get to the cover there, the thumbnail. This is a very rare title. I don't know if anybody was going to be interested in this, but I thought I'd bring this up here. It's more in my vein of movies I like. It's called Heartland of Darkness, and it stars Leanna Quigley. It's coming to Blu-ray from Visual Vengeance, and this is one of her films that were lost. This will be the first time available in any format. It's never been released on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, nothing, because it had just been found. It's from the 80s. It's one of the Satanic Panic type movies. Yes. So I guess maybe again? It's called Heartland of Darkness. It's coming from Visual Visions. So
interesting. May have to check that one out.
It's first time available in any format. It will be a Blu-ray, but it will not be like HD because this was shot on video. So it's a new director supervised SD master from the original tape and film elements. So and it looks like it's loaded with tons of special features. So
interesting.
Yeah. I would say if you're a fan of Leanna Quigley or those type of 80s type movies from that era, type horror movies like that, and shot on video, which I guarantee you're going to see a lot of violence, a lot of other things. This don't look like it'll last long. So if you want to pick that up, I would say pick that up.
There you go.
Yes.
And last but not least,
it looks like we will be getting the original Rocky in 4K and Rocky 2 in 4K on February 13th of 2023.
Now the weird thing is okay, yeah, first things first.
Nothing new on none of them yet.
I think because the weird thing is Disc Father is claiming that Warner is releasing these, and Warner's last I knew did not have the right.
Yeah, I thought
the rights to these.
I thought that's what Stallone was fighting about.
So I don't know if they have some deal going on with Warner through these or what. Because I think Warner did technically release the last two, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Even though MGM produced them, I think Warner Brothers had the distribution on them. And actually, I think it was through New Line, to be honest with you. And then, because Rocky Balboa is actually under MGM and Sony. That I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the first 5 would technically be MGM. Now, here's my guess. I think we're going to hear more. I don't think that this is the last we've heard of this. I think we're going to get at least 5 of the first films.
Yeah, I think we'll get at least the first 5.
And we'll get both versions of part 4. I think that's what they're setting us up for, is they're going to do individual releases, and then they're going to also announce a box set, I bet.
Yeah.
Because the art, if this is the art they're going with, here, let me see if I can bring it up here.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems likely, because this really looks a lot like the Rocky Drago art that we had on all the stuff for the special edition of Rocky 4 that came out.
Yeah, Rocky vs. Drago.
Yeah, that's what I meant. All right, let me get this up here. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
So yeah, this art makes me think that these are just going to be the individual release versions of them, and then we'll also get a box set, and I think we're going to get all of them. It says the artwork's not final, but this is very similar to the motif that they have for all the Rocky versus Drago shit. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think we'll get a big box set of at least the first 5, if not maybe 6. I think I don't know. We'll see on that. I'm just curious about the whole Warner being involved with the release of it.
Yeah. And then with Rocky Balboa, wasn't that under his company as well too? What was it? What's his company called? Like Balboa Studios or something? What's that
technically
called?
Yeah, but that's just a production company. As far as the distribution side of things, I'd have to go look at my disc. I mean, even though it's in the box set of the one, I still think Sony produced the disc.
It's weird because with everything you hear about going on with Stallone and with the rights to Rocky and how he's been trying to get him back, and You know, he doesn't want all that to keep happening with, you know, with the, I can't even remember the people that own the production or whatever that wanted to do all this stuff with Rocky stuff without his permission, and he wants them back and stuff. So it's weird, but it's interesting.
And we got a super sticker here from Nicholas Horton, who sends a Sheba Dog with a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Nicholas. We appreciate that. So, yeah, Valiant. We get some Rocky coming next year, at least. That's cool. I kind of figured, considering we already got the first one in 4K anyway on digital. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I look forward to it. That's one of the sets that I've been most looking forward to replace, of course, provided that it's a really good transfer, which I don't have any doubt it will be. So, yeah, I'd love to see, you know, Rocky 1 through 4. I don't care about 5. If they skip that one, I ain't going to cry. Then go right to Rocky Balboa. Give me that one, and I'm good.
Right. I agree with you. Part 5, man, I don't know what they were trying with that one. That was a horrible movie.
I actually don't mind it as much. To me, there's elements, of course, I see why people don't like it, but I don't know. I don't hate it.
I can just do without it. I mean, it's not something like I'm like, oh, I'm going to rewatch Rocky 5. No, I mean, like, there's been plenty of times like I'll rewatch. Usually, if I go to watch Rocky, what I will do is I will pick. I'll either watch the first 3 in succession, like take an afternoon, or I'll pick Rocky 2 or 3. If not Rocky Balboa, but like I've never, and sometimes 4, of course, too. It just kind of depends. 4, I can kind of watch it by itself. Rocky 5, Tom the Machine Gun. I don't like. I've never picked it up out of the case and go, oh yeah, let me watch this one today. Not one time.
So when was the actual last time you watched it, though?
Rocky 5?
Mm-hmm.
Probably within the last 5 years, I saw it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just kind of curious because, like, I know a lot of people who just haven't seen it really since it either came out or since the first time they watched it.
Terrible. To me, it didn't have the impact of any of the other films,
well,
and it just I didn't have the kind of, or I didn't find that it had the kind of rewatchability that the others.
That's
did.
True. I understand that. I just figured, like, to me, it's one of those movies, like, if they'd have done the same thing as the last 2 movies, then it would have just been that. The same thing as the last 2 movies. It was like, you do Rocky 1 and 2 are kind of like so different from each other, but yet so similar and feel like, a pair. And then Rocky 3 and 4 are so similar that they feel like a pair. But Rocky 4 manages to do what Rocky 3 did, only better, in most people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to Rocky 5, and it does. It feels like the ugly redheaded stepchild in so many fucking ways. But I look at it as like, yeah, if they'd have done the same thing as the last one, then what would we say about it then? I don't know. I mean, I get it. To me, I think it's more poignant now because we know what happened to Tommy, the real guy who played Tommy after the fact, which is just fucking tragic. But like, yeah, I think that it's important to me personally that they address the damage that Rocky was having. Living at that high of a lifestyle, sooner or later some brick wall's gonna hit, whether it's Paulie's fuck up or somebody else's fuck up. Sooner or later something's gonna hit, and that sets him up for where he's at in Rocky Balboa. And if we don't get
there's elements to it that are important.
Yeah. And I like that it wasn't all predicated on a big boxing match at the end. I liked the street fight. And then I also like that if it wasn't for Rocky 5, we don't get Rocky Balboa. There's a lot of things that if it didn't happen the way it did, we wouldn't have got that movie. And what's hilarious about that is how much of a joke Rocky 6 was for so many years. And then that one turns out to be one of the best of the bunch. Yeah. Which is hilarious. Because really, I mean, honestly, my thing is like, and I agree with you guys, like outside of 5, it's like, to me, it's like Rocky Balboa, then the rest of them, and then 5, in that order, like 3, 4 are about even, and then 5. I get it. And then Creed, I don't care for the first Creed so much, but I love the second Creed.
I did enjoy that second one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with the franchise. So for me, the first Creed is actually worse than Rocky 5. And all the people that I hear praising praising Creed, I'm like, it's just Rocky all over again. In fact, it's worse because the kid is trying to he's got this shadow he's trying to get out from under. And it doesn't really, he shouldn't have to really, I mean, embrace it. And B, it's not like he had a hard time growing up. If they wanted to show him have a hard time growing up, they should have left him in the streets instead of having Mrs. Cosby fucking adopt him.
And give him a mansion and a job and everything.
So I don't understand why he's like, I got this struggle. It's like, no, you don't. What struggle?
And your uncle is Rocky and he teaches you boxing.
Exactly. And not to mention what it does to
my butler was late with breakfast.
To me, all that business, you might as well have just made it Apollo's kid. Like his actual non-out-of-wedlock kid.
They never bring up at all because he had like 3 kids.
It's to me bothers me because it's like, why did you have to besmirch Apollo in that way? Sure. Was he probably a pussy hound? Probably.
Yeah.
Do we think about those things when we were watching these movies? No. And as you pointed out, Greg, he already has 3 fucking kids.
Audiences. It's got to have something for modern audience.
Well, no, just God forbid we have an African-American father who is not a fucking asshole sleeping around on his wife.
Yeah.
You know? And he was, actually not a stereotype in any way outside of being a lot like, the most you could compare him to would be Muhammad Ali. And that's not a stereotype, that's a personality.
Yeah. And I mean, that's who he's based on anyway. So.
Exactly my point, right? Like, so there's nothing about him that I would say, oh, that's definitely like a stereotype of some kind. No. Apollo Creed is one of the most realized characters in that universe, right? Mm-hmm. He goes from being the showboat in the first movie to respecting Rocky at the end of that to becoming a different role in the second, third, and then finally, the fourth film he's the catalyst for everything beyond that, right?
Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah, he is, and that's what it's like. I said, like he had 3 kids. They could have picked any one of those 3 kids to do a box like the next Creed. I know they did maybe have to work a little bit with the time and the area because they weren't. They weren't that young in the other movies, but whatever.
They weren't that old either, though.
Yeah,
Brian.
they weren't that old. So they could have been like one of his kids wanting to be a boxer and have a chip on his shoulder from their dad.
They didn't make Adonis all that young either. He's like in his 30s.
He's in his 30s, so.
So that's dumb. It's like.
And I mean, not that it does, like I said, I love Creed too, and like with the drag. I think the Drago stuff really helps propel that movie because it gives you like this back to part 4, and but I mean, like, just think how much more poignant that would have been if it was one of Apollo's kids who was in the audience the night that his dad fell or watched it at home, and then he comes face to face with Drago's son in the ring.
And that's what I love about that aspect of it, because then you get past that first movie and then it doesn't fucking matter anyway.
Yeah, then it don't matter because by then you're like, yeah, he's Apollo's kid. You could just picture him as one of those.
Well, that's because that's the thing is it could have done is here's the thing that bothered me about that is, and not to go off on a fucking tangent here, but like making, Apollo a deadbeat through that whole thing, you also took away a huge part of what could have been really flipping Rocky on its side, right? Because the original Rocky was Rocky Balboa, grew up on the streets, still lives on the streets. He has next to nothing. He never got a chance. He's a never was. And he finally gets his shot. The other side of that should have been Adonis has been tried his whole life, never got taken fucking seriously. So he does everything he can, finally turns to Rocky to be like, make me a real boxer because nobody's taking me seriously. Everybody's treating me with kid gloves because I'm Apollo Creed's son. I need somebody to make me a real boxer. And then you can set up the fact that he's going to fight Apollo or
Drago.
Fight Drago's kid, right? Yeah. Like that would actually give him a challenge. And that to me would have been an interesting story. And in through that challenge then, because you have Rocky going, well, yeah, just because you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth doesn't mean you can't work hard for what you want. Like that's there's a lesson to be learned there. And there's also a lesson that they can bridge with Rocky's kid and their relationship and how that's kind of, broken apart since the 5th film. Because they never really have ever fixed that either. That's been something that's always kind of been left open. Yeah, they kind of had their moment in Rocky Balboa, but it's still kind of a sore area there. Yeah. And that's how I kind of liked
him at the end of the second Creed movie, and I think that was like it. It's kind of like he's like, okay, let's start talking again. And they just left it there. It's actually the same way that he ended I thought he was ending the Rambo series when they did Rambo in 2009.
When he was walking up to his dad's house?
Yeah, he's walking up. You see the mailbox that says Rambo on it, walking up in Yuma, Arizona. And it's like the first time he's been home in like what, 40 years or whatever, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like, okay, where I'm going to go home, I'm going to make amends. And, but that, I think that moment had more impact. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to do well. I think, do they have a Creed 3 on the books?
Yes. And Michael B. Jordan is doing it.
And Sylvester Stallone is not in it.
Sly is not part of it. That's what.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. I remembered. Okay. Yeah.
Which it's probably not going to be a good movie.
No. Good
There's
luck
a
with
big
that.
hubbub going on right now, so I'm afraid they're going to kill him off screen, which is going to really piss a lot of people off.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I get what they're trying to do. Let's see if we can make this stand on its own. You can't. I mean, people went to the first 2 Creed movies. I'm sorry, it was for Rocky. It wasn't for Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah,
not
let's be
large. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Stallone got nominated for an Oscar for that first Creed movie. It was all Stallone, you know. So
that's 3 times I think he got nominated for that, or something.
Yeah,
at least twice anyway.
Yeah,
which has only happened a couple times in history, like with The Godfather. I think was the only other time.
Yeah,
where they had half that cast get renominated again. But yeah, I think we got this one. But thank you again, Nicholas Horton, for the super sticker. And then Canon Faladero. Faladro? Is that how you say that? Falderall. There we go.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. My dyslexia is kicking in. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, please do. There's over 100 of you watching and only 78 likes. So let's hit that like button if you haven't already. But yeah, that was not a whole lot of news, but some big titles with Death Wish and Rocky on the horizon. We had a lot of releases this week. Did you guys get a chance to watch anything? I know you and I, Greg, will talk about the truckload of discs I got to watch this last week.
I know one that we'll bring up tonight that I watched. I watched Poltergeist in 4K. So
yeah.
I have that one.
I watched that.
I finally got
and
Lost
Undiscovered
Boys,
Country. Yes.
So what did you think of those, Valiant?
I thought they were great. I really enjoyed both. I'm gonna let Greg go first because I got the dogs chewing at my ankles. Let me let them out real quick.
Sure. So yeah, go ahead, Greg,
I watched both of those. The short version is very impressed.
Well, we'll come back to you. Go ahead and take care of the dogs.
Yeah.
So Greg,
I'll talk a little bit about Poltergeist.
So if you guys want to know, did you reviewed both Poltergeist and Lost Boys, right?
Yes.
So those are 2 new ones from last week. Go check those out if you want a more advanced review. But go ahead and give us your brief summary of those.
I loved Lost Boys. I thought Lost Boys was probably one of the best transfers I've seen. Poltergeist, I thought was good. It has some flaws to it, I will say, specifically in the beginning. But after a while, the 4K really kicks in. I don't know if maybe there was...
For some reason, to me, it feels like the Poltergeist one might be from an older scan or something.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I know on the Blu-ray, it says it was cobbled together. It actually says, well, not those words, but on the Blu-ray from the original release, it says from other certain elements. So I was wondering if maybe because in the beginning of Poltergeist, it's a little flat in some spots. It doesn't quite feel like 4K, but then about maybe after 15 minutes, the 4K really kicks in and it begins to shine. But the audio is the biggest issue with Poltergeist. It's just really dull, even with the new master.
Well, that's actually, I think, the same 5.1 master we had from the recent release. Well, actually, I think I got them both right here. Because I got the Zavi collection. For those who haven't seen the original cover, oh my God, it's horrible.
Oh,
here's
it is.
Here's the old release from a while back. And this was serviceable. I mean, here's the thing. MGM did this originally, so you could be right. They may not have access to the original negatives. They could be lost for all we fucking know. But I can't believe Amblin didn't keep them, because I think Steven Spielberg still kept it under Amblin, even though that whatever. But then we had of course, this is one I got from Zavi, which had the same steel book as
so much better than mine. So much better.
Well, I really don't still care for this art so much. This is
that's not so good.
I'm not a big fan of this. This I like. They should have just done this simple, because that says everything you need to know. And I agree with you. The transfer is not stupendous. It is a step up from the old Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's probably the best it'll ever be.
Yeah, and the Blu-ray that comes with this is the 4K master, although it's down converted. But yeah, I agree with you. Not only that, on the sound side of things, this movie and Lost Boys scream for a Dolby Atmos mix.
Yes, definitely.
Especially
Definitely.
Lost Boys. Why did not Lost Boys? Of all the movies, you've got all this atmospheric stuff of them flying around and shit. Mm-hmm. It would have really used the Atmos. It sounds... Lost Boys does sound better than Poltergeist.
Yeah, because I could hear everything in Lost Boys. And I was sitting there turning up the sound for Poltergeist just to hear him talk.
Now, Poltergeist, I'm trying to figure out some history on this bitch. There's something that has bothered me for years and years and years. And I even asked Robert Meyer Burnett. I've asked anybody I can think of who might have an answer on this, because there's a weird jump cut about 41 minutes, I think, into the movie. And I've asked everybody about it I could think of. I've looked it up time and time again. The answer that the closest thing anybody can come up with, and this is not an answer, this is not confirmed, this is just the best that anybody can come up with, is that in the script, after where it's cut, there's a line where the dad says he hates Pizza Hut. So everybody thinks that it's because they were trying to appease to Pizza Hut that they chopped that bit out of the film. Now, there are some people who claim that when they saw this film in test screenings and early showings in like Burbank, that it had the full scene in there. And then afterwards, there's a scene with the parents smoking pot again. And the mother is saying basically that the feeling she got when she got pulled across the room was the equivalent to an orgasm.
Yeah.
So I think it had more to do with them cutting that scene out than the rest. I think they just cut it there because they're like, okay, well, they'll just pretend like they're going to Pizza Hut. Plus, there's another bit of that scene that's missing that I think might be the reason for it. Mm-hmm. And that is because Carol Ann goes flying into the wall.
Yeah, it smashes her helmet open.
Smashes her helmet into the wall. Luckily, she's fine. But I wonder if maybe the MPAA was like, nah, it's a little too violent for a kid.
That's why I was when they asked us, like, do we know what this test score audience said? Because you said some people remember seeing those in the movie.
And I said that at that time, I remember a lot of people really kind of up in arms if something happened to a kid in a movie. I mean, I remember when Macaulay Culkin died in My Girl, it was a big deal. Like, they even had something they handed out at the school that I was at, like pamphlets about the whole thing and how dealing with children dying and all. It was craziness. So like at that time, it wasn't a normal thing to see in a movie all the time. Like Jaws was the only time I could remember a kid dying besides Stand By Me.
The Blob from the 80s. That kid.
That was a little later 80s, but yeah.
Yeah, that was, but that was even still like creepy. So
it was still a little taboo yet at that point.
Yeah.
But like, so I was like, okay, is it because of that? And then, because I asked Script Doctor, I'm like, can you get me the script so I can compare it? And the best that he could find was a shooting script. And here's where the thing gets even fucking funkier.
Oh.
Because yes, Jason, you get what I'm saying here. Yes, I should preface this. This is pre-PG-13 era. Because remember, this movie is rated PG. There is no PG-13 yet.
Right.
This is a hard fucking core PG.
Oh, big time.
So I'm wondering if there was some negotiation going on, because there's another scene that got cut.
Oh yeah, I know what scene that is.
That is near the end where she's in the bedroom by herself right after Craig T. Nelson leaves. The mother's in the bedroom, and when the wall starts coming alive, actual tentacles come after her and grab her and practically rape her. It got so suggestive.
Dead scene.
Yeah, it got so suggestive that scene got cut out early on. But here's the weird thing about it, because that jump cut looks like it would be something like that would happen at the last minute, and they would cut it out of like all the prints. Like, that's how bad that jump cut is. But it gets even weirder, because if you look at the shooting script right after the whole thing, because here's the thing, they turn back, it's too late. Carol Ann shoots across her room faster than before, and with no one to catch her, angle kitchen wall. At a sickening speed, her helmet smashes into the wall. Diane screams. Steve runs over. An 8-inch hole in the wall and the cracked plastic on the helmet testify to the force of the impact. Carol Ann is dazed but unhurt. Carol Ann, you promised pizza. Then omitted. What the fuck?
Yeah.
3 scenes, boom, gone. And then it picks right up where the movie cuts to, which is them knocking on the neighbor's door and they're giggling. And somebody, and not one, but more than one person has said there is a scene in between there where they're smoking pot again, like they were earlier in the movie in their bedroom. And they're talking about the experience and they get the idea to go ask the neighbors if they've had any similar experiences, thus cutting to that scene. So there's, for some reason, 3 scenes cut right here. And this was before they even started shooting. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. And nobody can prove whether or not these scenes ever existed in between there. And that's the problem. You have people who are saying that I saw it when it first came out. Those scenes were never there. It was always cut like that. And then you have a few people who are saying, no, I saw it in a test screening and I saw it at early screenings in Burbank, which back then they used to do more staggered screenings. And then you would get the full blown release like New York and LA and Dallas and stuff like that. With some in Chicago would usually get like a early 2-3 weeks to a month.
Yeah.
Get it first in their big premium theaters. That's kind of how they used to do these things. So somebody was saying they saw it in an early screening in Burbank and they remember that those 2 scenes, the remainder of the scene that's cut plus the scene afterwards leading into the other scene. And it's not just him. There's other people and they all have the very same type of explanations for it. And the funny thing is unless they went and read the script, they wouldn't know the rest of the shit that's said. So that's the other thing. So it's like, to me, there's enough evidence that it's not a Mandela thing. I think those scenes exist, but I think they were excised, and I think it has more to do with the rating and less to do with Pizza Hut. But I'm curious what you guys think about this, because it has been bugging the piss out of me. And you know, Greg, that I've been just researching the hell out of this.
It makes sense to me.
It does to me too. I mean,
because do you know the jump cut I'm talking about, Valliant Renegade? Because like Steve is mid fucking sentence when it jumps.
Yeah, no.
So that's it. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I remember it. And it always did strike me as being a little weird. And I think all that makes sense now that I'm seeing this.
I don't believe it's a Mandela effect thing. And I do believe that it has probably something to do with the ratings. It's just all like very weird and confusing because I would really like to know what was done in the test screenings, what people's reaction were, and maybe that could help explain some. So if we could find somebody who was at that test screening and figured something out, that would be awesome.
So the best I can come up with is that they sacrificed those 2 scenes, the scene of Carol Ann hitting her head into the wall and them smoking pot and comparing the sensation to an orgasm and all that business, along with the rape scene at the end. I think they sacrificed those 3 scenes so they could keep the face scene and the skull scene and probably 1 or 2 other more harsher scenes in the film.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I would say you're probably accurate there.
Because I know Steven was part of the scene with the face ripping. His hands are the ones doing the face ripping.
Yeah. That scene looks good though in the 4K. That does look good, like a cool scene.
And honestly, I think some of this is from the negative. I'm not 100% sure though. That's on. It could be from a near the negative, inner positive. It looks good. It looks better than it ever has, and like you said, Greg, it'll probably look better than it ever will. For some reason, these 2 recent releases from Warner only have HDR. And I don't think that's been a normal thing for Warner, but on a lot of their older releases they did. So that's why I'm starting to wonder if these are maybe older scans.
I don't know. But I give it up to the Lost Boys because that movie is dark to begin with. There's a lot of darks and reds and stuff, and it really, really popped. I was really surprised about how really good it looked.
They kind of fixed the color timing this time around too. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I could tell there was a little different aspects, color ratio to it and stuff.
Because growing up, I remember on video and seeing it on TV and all that stuff. I didn't get lucky enough to see it in theaters. But growing up, I remember it having more of a golden hue to it. And on the DVD, all the 2 or 3 DVDs I've had and Blu-ray I had prior to this recent release, it just was like more of a standard or cooler temperature. Now, for the first time since then, this 4K is in the more golden temperature. It's just slight. It's not like overt in any way, but now it feels like it did originally.
Yeah.
So this to me is the most it's felt like it has, like it was supposed to feel originally, because for some reason there was just something off about the last 2 scans or 3 scans of the film they did. I think they've only done 2 prior scans to this. But this one clearly comes from the negative.
Clearly, yeah.
And for the year 87, it has very nice looking grain. Compared to most films of this era, it looks really, really, really good. Of course, I think it helps that they shot it in the nice scope. Of course, some of the composite scenes, you get some degradation. That's normal.
It happens.
But again, I'm with you. It could have, especially considering how dark this movie is, it could have used a Dolby Vision treatment, but the HDR is fine. I do feel like there's some of the darker scenes that aren't quite as dark as they should be, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but they might have brightened it up a little bit or something.
I think it's just because of the HDR grading and not having Dolby Vision. Yeah. I think if there was Dolby Vision there, those scenes would be completely dark, but you're getting just a little bit of the blue specks. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, or blue noise or whatever, where sometimes you'll get where it's dark, where it should be black on the screen, but you're just getting a little bit of blue noise.
A little bit of blue in it.
It's color noise. That's all it is.
Okay. Well, I don't quite sure.
You get it in video as well. I mean, it's usually something that would happen if you're shooting a very dark scene and you're using very high ISO or high speed, very light sensitive film. You have to sacrifice sensitivity for color accuracy and for resolution, and you tend to get more grain structure and speckles, especially in dark scenes.
Yeah. So I noticed some of that, but that is also kind of part of the film stock of that time. So I just kind of chalked it up between the two. But yeah, to me, I'm with you, Greg. The biggest mistake of both of these releases is not giving them a Dolby Atmos soundtrack upgrade. Because this one especially could have really benefited from it. And Poltergeist needed a new soundtrack.
Yeah, because it was bad. I mean, at least I could hear everything in Lost Boys, and the music was good. Everything it could have used. I would love the Dolby Atmos, but man, that Poltergeist, sound was just not very good at all.
And I bounced back and forth between the original Dolby Surround and the 5.1 mix. There's not a lot of difference. I mean, the 5.1 mix is pretty close to the Dolby Surround, at least the way my system decoded the two.
Yeah, I ended up just leaving it on the theatrical, the original theatrical sound on mine because it just sounded better.
With some of these Warner releases, it sounds like you're almost better off. But if just in case people want to see the Lost Boys one, because I did get the Zabi one of that too.
Yes.
Much better cover.
It is.
This at least has the I call this the comic book cover because that's really what it's doing, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. Because of course it comes with the same steel book that Best Buy had, which was available for a few minutes last night, Greg.
Oh yes, because
I sent the link to my friend. By the time my friend clicked the link, it had sold out.
Yeah, because I heard people was like, I was going to wait for the steelbook, and now I can't get it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's coming back.
He got Poltergeist, but he didn't get this one.
Oh man!
And I said, well, at least on that one, the cover's not as bad as Poltergeist. He's like, you're right, that fucker looks like ass.
Oh, it is.
So we got a bunch of lobby cards and a poster in here. I'm not going to dig into those, but this is kind of the part that I think is cool. You know, the comic book in the movie.
Yeah, I love that.
They got this, which is the poster of the film, but it's made to look like the. With the
vampire kill all vampires or whatever it was called.
There you go. So that I thought was kind of a neat deal. This is the Zabi set, and I think this is sold out, but I think you can still get this at UMV or whatever in UK. So far as any of our UK listeners, and sometimes Zabi reissues these later on with various differences depending.
Yeah.
Because I think they've done that now with Tremors and a couple other ones and whatnot. And I did pick up, not to ruin too much of later show.
Yeah. Well, for anybody that won't be watching tonight, here you go.
But the Warrior and the Sorceress.
Oh, you got that?
Well, yeah, that's not the original poster. I kept that one for a reason out there because it's much better than the one that we actually got, which is that one. But believe it or not, considering, you know what, I'm going to save this for later.
Okay.
But this was better than I thought it was going to be. I'll say that much right now. And I'll save the rest for, and you guys should come listen later because I'll say some goofy fun shit about that movie later on. And I got a whole stack of them here to talk about tonight.
Awesome.
So, Valiant, since we kind of went back around, was there anything you wanted to say about your recent acquisitions and viewing experiences?
No, like I said before, I mean, I really enjoyed both. I think you guys covered most of it. I think it's the best that Poltergeist has ever looked. That's always been one of my favorite horror films. and Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. I was so happy I finally got to watch that in 4K. Definitely was a very good transfer, and a little bit of an upgrade in the sound there. And it was, look, overall very, very nice. I think one of the best things I enjoyed about or noticed as much on the soundtrack on Undiscovered Country was the presentation of dialogue was much more sharp and focused. And not to say that the Blu-ray version before that was bad, but this was, to me, I was a step up.
I think it's the same soundtrack unless they added the 2.0 soundtrack or whatever here.
It may have been, but for some reason or maybe it was the way that they or
maybe they were Dolby True HD or before, and they maybe the DTS this time. That could have been a difference.
I don't know. It might have been the gain staging. I just noticed that
could have been.
The way that it was handled seemed to be a little bit.
Did
sharper.
they have the director's cut before? This one might have gotten some changes done to it. You're right. I didn't think of that.
Well, no. I mean, that was okay. The last time that I had the director's cut version was on the Laserdisc set.
I think the DVD
Blu-rays
had it, but not the Blu-ray.
Yeah, or maybe the DVDs had it, not the Blu-ray. Maybe that was it. But I remember
think so because they had the silver case one had it, I think.
Maybe so. Because, that whole scene at the end where you find out, okay, that was Colonel West under the mask. Now, I will say this. The Laserdisc versions that I have that had that same scene in where they pull the rubber mask off the Klingon assassin and it revealed to be Colonel West, that was in it. However, things I had never seen before, not things. It was one specific scene. It was when he has to rip the information, when Spock has to rip the information out of Kim Cattrall, does the mind meld.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's naming the conspirators, it like breaks off to these little, it flashes the images.
The flashes. Yeah, I think that's only in the director's cut. Yeah.
Well, but it's not on the Laserdisc.
Maybe they just didn't change it.
Never seen that before. And to me, that's the only thing I really didn't like about it. I found it was jarring. The tension of the scene, the version of the Laserdisc and the Blu-rays for that scene where she just names them off and it just stays right there. But this one, it's like it cuts away to having a picture of General Chang and a picture of Admiral Cartwright. And it's like this big bong as they showed everybody's face.
See, that's the way I always remember it. So
I didn't care for that at all. That's not on my Laserdisc. But the Laserdisc has the Colonel West thing at the end with the rubber mask. So it's like it's two different versions of this director's cut that I've seen now. Those are the only two changes that I can.
Well, Joey says then it's complete. Maybe it's a complete version. Like they took a few things they changed in the director's cut. Oh, he did them for DVD. That's why. So I was gonna say I always remember them, but I would have only seen it on video maybe once or twice. I would have watched it more on the DVD in my lifetime.
See, I don't, and maybe
that's why. Okay.
Did I buy them on DVD? Maybe I didn't have them on DVD.
Maybe you didn't.
No, I'll be honest with you. That Laserdisc box set I have was absolutely gorgeous, and that might have been. And we've had this conversation before that when the first DVDs came out, there wasn't like if you had a really nice, well-made Laserdisc transfer. The DVDs really didn't offer anything of much of an upgraded value,
especially if you didn't have a bigger TV or a HD TV.
So I stuck on the Laserdisc box set that I had, and then when the Blu-rays came out, I think that was probably the next time I purchased.
If I was in your shoes, especially if I had a tube TV still, I wouldn't see any reason to upconvert to a DVD unless there was some good reason for it.
Yeah. That's just weird, though. It just, like I said, it wasn't on
No,
the
that makes sense. He added that for the DVD. Okay. Maybe because just to kind of, as for those to understand what they're, I can see where that'd be a little bit more jarring, though. Yeah. Because I think the last time I saw it was the theatrical version, and I hated it. I didn't hate it, but I was like, where's this scene? Where's that? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the theater, and only they didn't have it on there. So I was like, oh, fuckers. So yeah, the only difference, though, I know between this is that it doesn't have the weird aspect ratio on it like it did before. Because I don't know, your Laserdisc probably had that, because for some reason the director's cut was in a open matte widescreen instead of it being in the 235. It's been a
long time. I have to go.
So this version, they said that they cropped off that version because actually I think it would be a crop off because it's Super 35. And it's just like the theatrical version is all it is then. So
yeah.
But see, back then I think they did that more because it was for the video version anyway. So they wanted that open matte for the video version. That's why.
Okay.
If you get my drift.
Maybe.
So you get a little bit more on the top and the bottom. You're losing less on the sides, though. See, because when you used to do Super 35, what they would do instead of filming with a Panavision lens, they would just film it with the full open matte. And then when they would go to process it, they would the theaters themselves would either have to crop it off or they would blow it up into whatever format. And it would be that widescreen format instead of it being 16 by 9, basically, or 185. And there's been plenty of films shot like that. But what'll happen is sometimes knowing they're going to shoot it, it's going to be shown that way. A lot of the directors will have like mics and shit in the scenes. So that's when you get to the video versions, you'll have like the microphones and shit when you're not supposed to sometimes. And they would do this sometimes with like a lot of films. They would just shoot them open matte back in the day because they knew the television version would be that way. So then they wouldn't be losing anything on the sides. So technically, those are the few times where you're losing a little bit of film or a little bit of actual screen when they do the widescreen versions. But the way we were supposed to see them all that time was cropped off anyway. That's kind of the thing.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were shot in a square, but then they just crop them off and blow them up.
Oh yeah, yeah. They used to do all kind of weird stuff, especially when they were trying to format things for a 4x3 television set.
Yes, and that's exactly it. Because that was the main reasoning for it was we know that this is going to have a longer life on video and television, so they would kind of save themselves. In fact, James Cameron prefers his full screen version of T2 over his widescreen version because his widescreen version is just a center scan of the 35 millimeter. And his version is an actual pan and scan where he gets everything on there he wants, which is kind of weird. I know, right?
Yeah. Bodes well for the T2 Blu-ray or 4K if we ever see a real one of that.
That's why I don't think he really gives a shit. Because it's not really the version he wants anyway.
Makes sense, I guess, for him.
Yeah.
James Cameron. Ugh. That guy, he's getting weird.
So yeah, what else did you get this week? Anything else, Valiant?
No, I think there was just those two.
Were you here last week when we talked about the screw up with Friday the 13th?
No, he was not.
No,
I was gonna say I didn't think you were. Yeah, they're missing a transition.
Oh God!
Somebody pointed this out to
me.
You know,
I got Friday the 13th, and I put it on, and I hadn't finished watching it. I need to go back and sit down and finish.
Once somebody tells you what it is, it's glaring as fuck. Because I noticed it the first time, but I'm just like, maybe it's always been that way, and I'm just thinking of the sequels. That's why I didn't say anything at first. When it goes from the scream at the very beginning, where it zooms in on the freeze frame, it doesn't flash to white on the 4K version. It's supposed to. It flashes to white in every other previous version I have, including the shout version from that same 4K master. So Paramount fucked this up.
God.
Leave it
so
to
you
Paramount.
add that in with the supposed fuck up on the Dolby Vision, which I didn't have as much of a problem with as everybody else did. Everybody else is like, it's too dark, it's too dark, it's too dark. I'm like, just change your TV setting, it's fine.
Yeah.
But in this case, this is kind of a snafu, because to me it did stick out, and I'm like, yeah, because that's part of all of those movies up to a point, I think. That they did that. They do a freeze frame and a flash is like for the first, 3 or 4 movies, Greg, if I'm not mistaken? Maybe 5?
I think the first 3.
I think even 5 has it with Corey Feldman, doesn't it?
Oh,
well, it's a flash, but it flashes to him older, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like when he's on the is he on the bus? The older kid, when he wakes up, the older version of him wakes up. I think there's a white flash there.
Yeah, so that's the closest they come to it in that version. And then I think 6, I'm trying to remember. I don't think 6 has it because that has the 007 opening. But it still might have the flash there. I don't remember. Either way, it's not fucking there.
Yeah, it's not in the first one.
And I checked it and checked every one of mine, and I have 5 different versions of it. All the way back to the original Paramount release, which would basically not even be anywhere near the negative. So it's not like they would have had to have done anything to it. It was a straight scan. I have the remastered DVDs and the older Blu-rays and the Shout Factory Blu-rays. So I'm not kidding when I said 5 other versions.
Yeah.
And I have like 2 copies of the one, I think. I have 2 copies on Blu-ray of the older release anyway. So yeah, so now I checked them. They're all there except for this one. So that was a fuck up. And Paramount is not going to do anything about War of the Worlds. They've already answered about that. Their claim is that's the way it is on the original 3-strip Technicolor.
Yeah, right.
Sounds to me like the red fucked up.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that one, Greg? Or Valiant, I mean?
No, I haven't.
Okay, let me bring this one up while you're... The other mess up was, of course, just... is actually fixed. So, if you're trying to get the Steelbook of Reservoir Dogs, now is your chance. It's still active for now until it does actually sell out this time.
Oh, I went and pre-ordered it from Target. It's the only place I could get it to work.
Did they have the Steelbook there? I keep forgetting about Target.
I don't know.
See, I got the Steelbook with the ear. Did you see that one?
No.
I'll show
Is
you
Target pretty fast? Because I always forget about Target. They're pretty good at delivery. Because I might have to. I may have to try to get my Scream 2 Steelbook from Target because don't look like mine's coming anytime soon.
Why is Amazon having issues?
Well, I
pre-ordered it there.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the Steelbook from Amazon, and it's supposed to be here next Tuesday, but it's not. It says it won't be here till October 21st.
Oh. So, I ordered mine through Best Buy, and I haven't got anything yet, so I'll let you know if I hear anything.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up right now.
So I'm thinking about just canceling the Steelbook and just getting a regular 4K because that doesn't seem to be having any problems at all.
I think you can still get it through Best Buy. Double check.
I did.
It does have a pre-order. Yeah, it comes right next to the Running Man. So, which I think I already pre-ordered that one.
I went to on my Best Buy. It says coming soon. It doesn't allow me to pre-order it. So, on the website, when I went to it,
it does or doesn't.
It doesn't. When I go to the 4K Steelbook of Scream 2, it says coming soon. It doesn't say pre-order at all.
That sucks. I wonder if it's a regional thing, but anyway. They to recap, the opening shots of Mars are the wrong color. See anything wrong here with this?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see that.
It's definitely not blue.
No.
It's supposed to look like this. All the previous releases, it looks like this. But Paramount's claiming that, nope, this is the way it looks. We're not wrong. Even though you can kind of see the color bleeding through there a little bit. Looks to me like they fucked up.
Yeah, they messed up.
I mean, that would be weird. Yeah.
Luckily, I guess it's just this shot is the only one that's fucked up. Or I think there's like one other shot. I think he said that there's something that's a little off. But like this is the main one that stands out like a sore thumb. And in fact, I guess they did the same. I don't know if they reused this same shot in the second film that comes with it. But I guess it has the same problem too. So I have no idea. What the fuck? But that's how they rebuild these things. They just probably use the same shots. That's why.
Yeah.
Because people will ask, famously, like I remember most recently when I discovered the, and Bill gave me credit for it here on the Digital Bits thing here. Awesome. When I discovered the Hard Day's Night fuck up, I'm like, wait a minute. I saw that shot once already. That don't seem right. And I went and checked and looked. And sure as shit, they fucked up with 3 or 4 shots in a row on the Criterion edition. And they didn't even do it. They didn't fuck up on the Blu-ray, but they did the 4K, which was funny on this one. So yeah, and so that just goes to show you that they basically rebuild these things every fucking time they put them together to put out a new version of it or whatever. Especially probably when they're scanning the negatives and all that stuff. So these things can happen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And on this note, I can see Paramount not wanting to fix this. But on the Friday the 13th one, when you got enough people that are bitching about the color grading already, I would fix that. Because they still ain't done shit about the problem with Escape from LA that I know of. I've not talked to anybody who's gotten... I remember emailing them a while back, and they said, they're working on it or something like that was the last kind of email I got back. And I just kind of forgot about it because I got the import that is fine. So, and for those who don't remember what's wrong with Escape from LA... If you have a 5.1 surround sound system, you may notice that the center channel voices come out of every single fucking channel. If you're watching it on a 2.0 system, you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
So, because it would just sound the same. So, and of course, it doesn't have an alternate soundtrack. Like it doesn't have the original 2.0 mix or anything on there. Of course, I think that was a 5.1 mix to begin with by how late that movie came out. So yeah, pretty sure that was an AC3 mix back in the day. For those who don't know, that's the old version of 5.1.
Yeah.
Which basically it is 5.1. So yeah.
But yeah, basically.
We did get this super sticker, but thank you again, Canon. I appreciate that. Mars has always been blue, says Stanley. Fake news. Oh, it's a ruse. They're making us think it's red. Gotcha.
I knew it all along.
And then Total Recall, they got it totally wrong.
Yeah, really. God.
And then what was that other movie, Red Planet? Or whatever, with Val Kilmer?
Oh, yeah, I remember that
They
one.
really got it wrong.
I like that movie.
I knew
it was kind of fun. Was that a remake of
Mars.
the old one, or did it have nothing to do with the old Red Planet movie? I couldn't remember.
I don't even remember. They did so many Mars, but they did Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars, yeah.
Mission
there is a Mission to Mars.
What was the other one around that same time? It was Red Planet, and then
there's Red Planet.
Goes to Mars with John Carpenter.
No, it was Mission to Mars. Yeah,
it is Mission to Mars. I was gonna say,
yeah. With
then you had Ghost
Tim
of
Robbins.
Mars, but yep, Tim Robbins was in that one, I think, and then you had Contact as well, but I don't think that went to Mars. But that was around the same time.
Did she even actually go anywhere?
No.
It's like I love sitting there watching a 3-hour movie just to have at the end of it saying, we just wasted your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Contact was such a bunch of horse shit.
It was.
God.
That's a 4K. If they ever bring it out, I'd be like, you have to pay me to take that son of a bitch again. Which is sad because it is kind of an interesting film up until that end. It's like, really? This is your ending? And that's how I felt watching The Arrival.
Payoff. Yeah.
Like some people love The Arrival, that one, the more recent one from Denis Villeneuve.
Oh yeah, I don't.
I'm like, it's really cool up until the end. I'm like, wait a minute, what the time travel? What the fuck is this? Because I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. They've never really kind of tackled it like this, because this is kind of like Close Encounters, but how would we really communicate? Oh, they're teaching us their language. Oh, that makes fucking sense. I was really into that shit. And then all of a sudden it goes down this fucking path of time travel bullshit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? And it's like...
It's a stupid movie. I never really cared for it.
To me, that's the equivalent of The Christmas Story. Trust me, I'm sure you guys have seen it. But you know when he gets his decoder ring? He goes through the whole thing, and it's a
Drink
big
your
whole big...
Ovaltine.
Drink your Ovaltine. What? I got duped into buying an ad? Oh, or however it goes. I don't remember, but I will find out in 4K this Christmas.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. I think we covered all the ground we can cover for today, unless there was anything you guys think we might have missed.
Not that I know of. I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Sounds good to me. I think the only announcement you missed, just offhand, but because I know we've talked about it enough times, is High Plains Drifter finally has a date.
Oh, yes.
It's November 22nd.
Thought I did that one already.
We have done it, but I don't know if we got the date on it. And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles also has a date of, I think, November 13th.
Oh, I didn't even... Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
It has not been officially announced yet, though.
Did you talk about the other movie that they announced a release for that I'm sure you pre-ordered?
Which one?
Clerks 3.
Oh,
I did not pre-order that.
I was going to bring that up because it's getting one of those Lionsgate steelbooks with this like little slip cover. And I was like, I don't really care. So
I know he's not pre-ordering it. I'm just fucking with him.
It doesn't even, you know what? There's even a part of me that would be like, maybe if that steelbook was cool, but no, the steelbook looks like ass. It looks like Clerks Easter.
Yeah, the colors are all weird, aren't it?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I didn't even share it, so I don't even know if I can.
I saw it. Yeah.
Well, just so the audience sees it real quick. But yeah, as I'm looking for this, Valiant, do you have something coming up at all that you'd like to plug or anything? I know you had a recent interesting conversation with WDW Pro.
Wait, I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. Say that again.
So I know you recently had an interesting conversation with WDW Pro and all that.
Yeah, we had a good show Sunday on the live stream, and I clipped a segment from that Cameron had come in to talk about. It's just interesting listening to people like Matthew Maloney, who really, I mean, if there's a guy that has his hand on the pulse of what Hollywood executives and high-level people think, it's him. And you know, there's just more people that are just openly talking about, like him, just how bad Disney has completely botched and mismanaged everything with Lucasfilm. It's just, you know, we all know it. We've all been talking about it for years, but when it starts crossing over into people like him feeling very comfortable just ripping the gloves off, ripping the mask off, and just saying, okay, you know what, it's been absolute dog crap. And yeah, it's something. But we'll have more conversations coming. Pro's got some more information on the from his contact inside the toy manufacturing industry, and we should be getting. We'll be talking more about that later in the week.
Cool. It just looks horrible.
Yeah, so there's a look at Clerks Easter.
Yeah, by the way, folks, do not adjust your television sets. Those colors are the actual colors.
It looks so bad.
We did not reverse the R and the B cable in the RGB input, in the component video input.
It looks so bad. Oh my God.
Actually what it is.
After what I heard, the move they do to some of the characters in the movie, I'm good. I don't need to see it.
Same here. Same here.
And with that, we know later on, Greg, what we're up to. So
yes,
one of these days, Valiant will have to join us. He's welcome
we'll
anytime.
bring you on there, Valiant.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, it's just a fun time, just showcasing some of our collection and talking about.
It's not just
what
Blu-rays and DVDs and 4Ks. You can bring on just pretty much anything. Physical media.
Yeah,
I've even brought on books.
So I brought on VHSs and CDs. So,
yeah, records.
Yeah, records. It's
like
fun time.
Record. Yeah. The horror.
Hey, that reminds me. I got some cool stuff coming up this coming week for anybody that's sub to me. So be on the lookout. Yeah.
I heard a little bit about that, but I'm not going to say shit.
Yeah, I'm but well, I can reveal that one. I talked to an inspiring scream queen. Sadly, I hate to tell you guys that she won't be on camera because it was her first time ever doing something like this. Well, she was actually in her bra and a face mask, and she didn't quite understand. So but you'll hear her talk. She's got some good stories. I think you got to be really interested in that. And I just might have some stuff from Critter VC too. Why is she in a
bra and a face mask?
She thought we were just going to record audio.
But why the face mask? I'm trying to.
I don't really know, but I saw it and I was fine with it. I told her she could.
Well, I mean, she's going to be a scream queen. She's going to have to get used to people seeing her in her bra. I mean,
trust me, this woman, she's actually a lot more than that. She's actually a stripper too. So she talks about nudity in film and
getting better. This keeps getting better.
She talks about that in the interview. So if you want to ever know what it's like for a woman to get naked in a movie, she talks about that.
I will be.
I enjoy watching women get naked in movies.
Yes, and so actually, so does she.
Well then.
Yes, she was pretty cool. Actually, I really dug talking to her. So next time I get her on, though, she'll be camera ready. She said. And so yeah, I got that, and so possibly some Creator VC stuff for you guys coming up next week for my start of October horror stuff.
Speaking of that, we're gonna go out on that. I'm gonna show the trailer once again for those who have joined us late. There's a link pinned at the top of the chat or in the description if you want to get in on this alien documentary. Now aliens, I should say, documentary. There already was an alien documentary. This one's not the same one. Check this out and get in on it now on the ground floor, and you can get your name in the movie. So there's a couple different tiers, and if you click our link in the description or in the pinned comment, not only do you get something cool for it, you get to help us out at the same time. We get a little kickback, just a little bit. But yeah. So, Greg, anything else before we go, guys? Anything?
No, that's about it. I'll probably be dropping some videos by the end of the weekend, and I have a lot of stuff planned coming up in October. That's about it.
All right, Valiant.
That's it for me. I'm good.
All right,
thank you.
We're gonna check out on this trailer. Take care, guys, and have a good one.
counts are all on the green. Looks like she's alive.
You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study.
That's the plan.
These people are here to protect you. They're soldiers.
It won't make any difference.
I want this thing to go smooth and by the numbers.
Let's rock!
Outstanding.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Drop your grinning and drop your linen.
Multiple signals!
Have a glorious day in the Corps.
My name is Ian Nathan. I'm the author of Alien Vault, and I'm the writer-director of Aliens Expanded. Aliens Expanded will be the most sophisticated and passionate exploration of aliens ever made.
We're on express elevator to hell.
The reason we come back to Aliens again and again is because there's something magical within it. There's something I don't think even Cameron could explain, but we're going to try and find it.
All right, gear up. 2 minutes, people.
Just a brilliant film. We love it, and we just want to talk about it.
Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
There's something universal at the heart of Cameron's filmmaking. He creates characters you love, that you recognize, that you relate to. He creates themes within his films, and especially with aliens, that come to the heart of the human experience.
You don't talk much, do you?
We're going to come at it in a new way. We're going to look at film in a different way. We're going to give it a different energy. This is as much about loving aliens as it is about understanding aliens. We're going to go out and talk about the theories, the in-world stuff, where the creature came from, the biology of aliens. Just go deeper and find something new. There's something beneath what we already have. So when you watch the film again, the first thing you'll do is turn on Aliens Expanded afterwards to go, oh yeah, God, great. We are running an ongoing consultation with our backers to ensure that our documentary truly reflects the incredible legacy of this beloved epic.
Magnificent, isn't it?
You'll receive an exclusive invitation to a year-long fan experience, including live cast and crew Q&As, vidcasts, and community events. Then at the end of the project, you'll receive your copy of the documentary and other physical rewards, including posters, a sew-on patch, and a certificate, as well as your name in the credits as a personal and unique memento of your love for aliens.
Okay, what do I do?
Okay, I'm on it.
Check that out today. Thank you so much, guys.